If you've watched football for any amount of time, you've heard the debate, is turf more dangerous than grass? Well, after digging through research, comparing stats, and looking at what players themselves are saying, I came to a clear conclusion. Artificial turf is riskier for athletes, but the why isn't as simple as you might think. First, let's talk numbers. ESPN reported that as recently as 2019, players suffered more non-contact injuries on turf compared to grass. But here's where it gets interesting. By 2021, those numbers started to look almost identical. Turf fields had 0.42 injuries per 100 plays, and grass had 0.41, practically the same. And during the 2022 preseason, the ratio was almost replicated. So if you stopped there, you might think, okay, turf might not be that bad anymore. But then you look at what the NFL Players Association found, and suddenly the picture changes quite a bit. Based on injury data from 2012 to 2018, the NFLPA states that players have a 28% higher rate of non-contact lower extremity injuries on turf, a 32% higher rate of non-contact knee injuries, and an unbelievable 69% higher rate of non-contact foot and ankle injuries on turf. Those numbers are not small, and they're definitely not insignificant. They also don't match that almost equal injury rates reported by ESPN. So why is there such a big difference? Different years, different sample sizes, different definitions of what counts as an injury, even different types of turf. In other words, the data isn't standardized, and when the data isn't consistent, the conclusions won't be either. That's why I went further and looked at the study, Lower Extremity Injury Rates on Artificial Turf versus Natural Grass Surfaces in the National Football League during the 2021 and 2022 seasons, by Paul L. Foster and Brian T. Feely. This study tries to clarify what's been happening recently, because turf technology has been changing fast. But even with newer turf systems, the trend still points in the same direction. Athletes are at greater risk, especially for non-contact injuries when they play on turf. Why? Turf doesn't release the foot the natural way grass does. When a cleat sticks, the body keeps moving, and that's where the knees, ankles, and ligaments get shredded. Grass tears, and turf grabs. So even though the injury rates may look close in certain seasons, the types of injuries, the severity, and the player feedback all lead toward one conclusion. Grass is the safer playing field, and turf still has a long way to go if it's ever going to catch up. At the end of the day, if leagues truly want to prioritize athlete safety, then the answer is simple. Natural grass should be the standard.